Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about some soft pastel techniques. So for our final project we will end up using soft pastels, and the reason why I decided to choose that one is because one, they're really easy to lay down, they're great for blending, and also later on we can go back over it with Sharpie just because it's basically a powder that you put into the paper. So generally this is kind of how they look like. So we got some squares, rectangles, triangles, and we'll use these. Even these little chunks still work, so don't worry about like this is too small or anything like that. You'll be able to use these for your picture too. So once you guys have a general sketch of what you guys will be doing on your final paper or in pencil, you guys will be going over top of it with pastel, and then later on we'll add the Sharpie whenever you guys are done. So I'm just going to show you guys some techniques, and I would really appreciate it if you guys would practice along with me. So make sure that you have that white sheet of paper, a pack of pastels, a color or two, and then you guys will be ready to go. Okay. So I'm going to start one with just a generic, just rubbing it into the paper, making sure that it's nice and smooth so you can lay it down and cross it over a couple of different ways just to cover an area. Obviously it's not going to be able to get everything just because of the tooth of the paper. So you can either use a Q-tip, you can use your finger, you can use anything that you need to do, and basically all it does is just rub that into the white sections of the paper that you've missed. This also helps whenever you're going back in and like I'm just trying to find this little corner that I'm going to shade in. So it helps with doing like little teeny details. So I can go do stuff like that. Little teeny corners. Okay. Our next one we're going to do is what we call a blend. One, we're going to have just a blend that we rub sort of down like this, and then the next one's going to be called a pressure blend. So one, I'm starting with one color. Rubbing that down. Fairly large area. Grab my next color, overlay it a little bit, and then fit the next section in. Grab this, and let's rub back and forth in between the two sections, kind of going back and forth. And it smooths everything out. And that way I have some nice value and color transitions that happen in here. Then I can even smooth down my purple and make it nice and smooth. Rotate it, and then catch that orange. So one of the main things that you're going to notice is that whenever you're like blending, whether or not it's with your finger or with one of these guys, if you're using this for mainly for one color, this for another color, you're going to have to sit there and switch it up or clean off your finger. So I have a nice blend right in there. It's all nice and soft. Okay. Now for a pressure blend. I'm going to go on an edge. Oops, maybe. Get a nice rich area. I'm using a fair amount of pressure just so I'm getting most of that white covered. Grab my next one. Make the next section. Oops, that broke off. That'll happen all the time, don't worry about it. Not blaming you, they just end up, it's just like a powder that they've compressed together. So we can't do anything about it. And then I go over top of it, one with my darker color, then back again with my lighter color. And I just keep going back and forth until it basically just naturally blends in together. That way you can still retain like some of the texture that happens in there. So I see all these nice jig-jaggedy lines, and it's not as smooth as that one. That can be a really good technique if you're doing something for like trees, getting in there with your leaves or anything like that. Okay. And then your last one, I just want you guys to practice working on an edge versus an angle. So an edge is one of these sharp guys. So you can go and do your detail or lay it down and just get a nice section that you lay down. So one, just rubbing it down. You can be either with your finger or one of these Q-tips. I'll have a few of them. You can do a pressure, or not a pressure blend, a rub blend, and that's just with either your finger again or with one of the Q-tips. This one's a pressure blend where I'm pushing really hard with one color, another color, and then I keep going back and forth over top of that middle section until I get my color transition that I want. Going on edge and going on our flat edge. That way I can get all these different types of things. Later on I can add like small different details, add layers of color over top of it. Whenever you have all this done in your picture for your background, and then your characters are colored in too, you guys will be able to finalize with some Sharpie to get in those really sharp details like teeth, horns, outlines of your edges of your creatures, just to define them a little bit better, and that'll make them look awesome, okay? So don't forget to practice this, and then we'll be able to talk about our final project soon. Thank you guys.